this very special edition of the India Development Debate. I'm Tamanna Inamdar and I'm speaking with you on a day when post-poll surveys put out by various agencies are predicting the results of the assembly elections in Maharashtra and Haryana, where voting concluded today. So all the agencies without exception are giving the BJP and Shiv Sena a comfortable majority in Maharashtra and the BJP another very comfortable second term in Haryana. Voting in assembly elections in both states has ended today, and as for the overall voter turnout, interesting figure, at least the figures that I have till 6 o'clock, the voter turnout in Maharashtra has been close to 56% and 61% in Haryana, both significantly lower than voter turnouts in assembly election of 2014. How does this fit into the overall narrative of what's happening in this election is another very interesting factor we will look at. Let's go into what the poll of polls is telling us in a little bit of detail and the average figure. So poll of polls simply is the top 4 or 5 polls that are out there. We've put them together and we've averaged out a figure for you just to give you a sense of what most polls are saying. There is no way that we are claiming this is an accurate representation of what you will see on the 24th of this month. So let me put that caveat out there. First up, this is just giving us a sense of what surveys have got to the table in terms of data that has been available. These are post-poll surveys. Let's remember that as well. So the BJP with 213 seats, the BJP Sena alliance with 213 seats out of 288 in Maharashtra as per this poll of polls average. In the state of Haryana, it will be about 63 seats for the BJP. So clearly, well above the halfway mark. These don't seem like there will be, an election where it will be very close or any kind of a split vote. The BJP seems to be romping across the finish line easily. In Maharashtra, I suppose the key factor is by how much does the BJP cross the finishing mark or the halfway mark by themselves, where they effectively do not need their alliance partner, the Shiv Sena, or will they be in a situation where that alliance will still need to be together and stay together over the next 5 years, even though they have decided to fight these elections together. So that is some of the interesting and important factors we'll be looking at over the next 1 hour in this very special edition of the India Development Debate. I want to begin by welcoming Tejas Mehta, political commentator, Amitabh Tiwari, political analyst, Hassan Rizvi, political analyst as well, and of course R. Jagannathan, editorial director of Swaraj magazine, and senior journalist Madhavan Narayanan, who's also joining us on the show this evening. I'm also joined by Toheen Sinha of the BJP, and we'll be speaking to the NCP also in a bit. So welcome to all of you, and thank you for speaking with us today. Let me begin by coming to you, Jaggi. Do you agree that the real number to look out for, and we're going to keep those poll of poll numbers on our screens constantly, the real number really is BJP in Maharashtra? Because that's going to tell us quite a few things. What happens to the BJP Sena alliance?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, BJP's dominance over the state, and how Mr. Fadnavis has fared, because this is his first re-election as Chief Minister.
Absolutely. I think the most important number is how much does the BJP get on its own. Let's forget that in 2014, when all the 4 parties, major parties fought separately, the BJP got 122. So if they stayed together and they've got each other's votes, and if the BJP comes close to the halfway mark, which is 144, then it means that this has become the primary pole of Maharashtra politics. And the fact that Devendra Fadnavis over the last 5 years has managed to carve out a clear leadership position for himself, don't forget, he faced some of the biggest challenges in any state with the Maratha agitation, the farmer agitation, the the Dalit agitation, or the Bhima Koregaon violence, all those things. And he weathered the entire list of storms, and he came out on top looking cool, calm, collected leader. So that, I think, that plus the BJP's inherent thing is there. So I think the most interesting number to watch is what is the total number the BJP gets on its own, and my guess is it will be anywhere between 130 to 145, which is what many of the polls indicate, though some outlier polls are saying that it may not reach anywhere near that figure. But whatever it is, it's clear that Fadnavis remains as Chief Minister of the state.
Yeah, Fadnavis remains as Chief Minister of the state, most likely, and Mr. Khattar as well. Both choices that were questioned at the time they were made because they didn't represent the most powerful caste groups in those particular states, whether it is a Brahmin Chief Minister in Maharashtra or a Punjabi Chief Minister in Haryana where Jats dominate. So, have those choices worked out? It would seem prima facie that maybe yes. Amitabh, you want to just go through what you've observed from the numbers so far that have been put out?
See, the numbers are exactly on the lines which everybody expected. I would say the other key number which is to observe is whether the NDA alliance gets more than the seats in the Lok Sabha elections. So, they were leading in 227 assembly segments, and some polls are indicating that they would get more than that number. If they achieve that, then it basically shows that or rather proves convincingly that the central issues and the popularity of the national leadership has impacted or has resulted in this decision. There's also a key number which we have to observe is whether NCP gets more than Congress. Earlier as well, I think in 2004 NCP had got more seats than Congress, but it had left the chief ministerial post for Congress. So if NCP gets more than Congress, then it indicates that now NCP is the elder brother in the alliance or in the UPA alliance in the state. The turnout numbers have also been very low. I think it is almost 15% lower in Haryana and 6-7% lower in Maharashtra. Generally, I have observed that a lower turnout is good for the incumbent, because it shows that the people who are angry are not that angry enough to vote for opposition or throw out the government. It also shows that the confidence in the supporters of the ruling dispensation, that even if they do not go out to vote, the NDA will probably win the elections.
Okay. Madhavan, interesting observation about low voter turnouts. And truly we are seeing significantly low voter turnouts as compared to 2014. Now, what do you put that down to? In 2014, remember, it was just a few months after the first big Modi win, and the BJP was riding on that momentum. Do you think that momentum and excitement that has been missing in the run-up to the election is reflecting in lower voter turnouts?
Yes, absolutely. I think let me amplify what Jaggi said. Essentially, this election is not an agitational election from the opposition's point of view, because in spite of the farmers' crisis and stuff like that, or the economic slowdown, essentially it boils down to leadership issues. And I visualize it like a cricket match in which Dev Fadnavis is like a non-striker, whereas Modi is like the striker, and they are having a stand together. And essentially when it's like a test match in which when two people are batting well, the spectators are not really on their edge. So voters are not turning out essentially because they know who will win. This is not something that the voter feels will make a decisive swing. And let me say, this can be from the Congress side or the opposition side as well. Nobody is really that dissatisfied enough to go out and vote, and nobody is that keen from the incumbency point of view also to go out and vote. So it's a bit of a follow through honeymoon period election in which in fact, look at the confidence with which Modi and Amit Shah were speaking about national issues like Article 370 and Savarkar and Kashmir and terrorism. It goes on to show that they are confident, and also they know that their own individual strengths lie in the political, somewhat militaristic, somewhat strongman image. So this whole thing is less about issues in specific, unless you count leadership itself as an issue. People seem to enjoy the idea of a Leviathan figure standing out the top, and the opposition is too busy playing coalition politics of the 90s style. And although we might read the tea leaves to find out if Sharad Pawar is getting ahead of Congress, and I will still be very keenly watching Shiv Sena BJP elections. And I will be even watching Raj Thackeray and MNS to see for future alliances, but that is another day. All this is essentially about Modi, 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 and whether there is any fissure. The only thing, I would rather look at the victory margins after the final results are out rather than the low turnout, to find out really if there is a tectonic shift of any kind which shows some kind of a hope or optimism for the opposition to play on.
What it looks like though so far, and Tuhin, I'm going to ask you for a little more of your patience. I'm going to just get all our analyst views in before I come to you. So let me come to Tejas. What it looks like so far is the BJP comfortably increasing its vote shares and seat shares as compared to 2014. Now we have to look at this in a couple of ways, Tejas. For one, through all of 2018 and some of 2018 actually, the BJP in assembly elections did not necessarily fare very well. It's a different story when Narendra Modi is on the ticket, like in the Lok Sabha elections. But here in Haryana and Maharashtra, if the exit polls are anything to go by, it seems like local leadership has also played its part. Tejas, that question for you?
Exactly. I would certainly feel it's not just all Modi, Modi, Modi. I think it is Modi, Modi and Fadnavis, Fadnavis too. The local leadership has made an immense difference in Maharashtra as far as the BJP is concerned, because remember in 2014, as you were mentioning, Tamanna, Mr. Fadnavis was seen as a greenhorn, somebody who was not going to be able to do it. His caste of a Brahmin was would have gone against him. Only the second chief minister to be a Brahmin chief minister in the state of Maharashtra. So all these issues came up, and the biggest question was, will he be able to handle the politics of the region? Now look at it. The Maratha issue, a political issue, not of his own caste, but they seem, the BJP and the Shiv Sena, especially the BJP, and the credit goes to Chief Minister here, they seem to have convinced not just the Maratha vote bank, but also the courts. And now they've got the reservation done for them. And in a sense, convinced the vote bank that yes, we are with you. And that will, now of course, they'll have to wait and watch whether the returns come in as far as votes are concerned. So I think Mr. Devendra Fadnavis has done reasonably well, very well in certain issues. He has been able to, get a lot of the opposition leaders into the NDA camp. And lastly, in spite of, yes, farmer distress, in spite of being the economic engine that Maharashtra is, and the slowdown that we have seen, he has been able to handle not just the media well, but also he has not entered into any sort of controversies, or we have seen Mr. Khattar have a few controversial statements, but Devendra Fadnavis has been very controlled. Now coming to the larger question on the BJP, look at 2009. There were 46 seats at that point of time. 2014 they went up by 76 seats. They came to 122, and now if they come even closer to 144, which I don't think is going to happen this time, but if they come closer to 144, it will be another 20 seats that they increase in their kitty. That's a phenomenal growth that they have in the last 10 years. The Shiv Sena has also grown, 45 in 2009, 63 in 2014, and we'll have to wait how much. I think they'll reach about 70 this time, but they would have also grown. All of this comes at the expense largely of the Congress party, which was 82 in 2009, 42, down 40 seats in 2014, and we'll have to wait and watch how much. 41 to the NCP last time. I think Mr. Pawar gave a really good shot his last probably election, that 78, going all out to ensure that the NCP was the only some sort of opposition that we saw. And he said, I'm still a Nabibi Jawan who motivating his cadres, his vote bank. But at the end of the day, I think that Pawar age and Pawar era has passed, and I think the baton has gone to the younger generation, and that's what we are seeing in the BJP and the Shiv Sena to a certain extent. The younger generation have taken the mantle, but for the Congress and the NCP, that's not really happening.
Absolutely. So, if these numbers are close to what we see on the 24th, here is the big picture of at least what's happening in Maharashtra, or what will be happening in Maharashtra. BJP clearly becomes big brother in the BJP-Sena relationship. That equation changes very significantly between the Congress and NCP. The NCP pulls ahead, even though slightly. So it becomes, the larger of the two camps in that opposition alliance. VBA and other parties like that have tried to make a dent and did better in the Lok Sabha polls seem to have come to a knot and not have any great kind of an input in this election. So that's the big picture from Maharashtra. In Haryana, on the other hand, if the polls are accurate, it seems like the massive dissonance and split in the opposition has helped the BJP tremendously. They may end up with a lion's share of those 90 seats which are in Haryana. The TV9 poll is the only one which shows them at the lowest, and there also they're across the halfway mark pretty easily, but at 47. The Congress seems to have lost at the cost of other parties. Will Dushyant Chautala and his new party, Jan Nayak Janata Party, really manage to make a huge dent? Will he emerge as a primary opposition leader in Haryana? That is how the equations will change and pan out after the 24th of this month. We are hopefully seeing a glimpse there. Tuhin, thank you for your patience. Tuhin Sena of the BJP joining us. Tuhin, you've got an opportunity to listen to what all the analysts have said. Your inputs on what picture is kind of emerging. The BJP, if it gets the kind of results that we are seeing right now, would have got them despite a lot of factors, despite economic slowdown being a looming factor in a state like Maharashtra, drought, etc., Haryana with its own set of troubles, but you still seem maybe to voters as the most preferable option. How will you ensure that you don't start taking votes for granted if you get this kind of a result despite all the problems out there right now?
So, Tamanna, the huge advantage which both the chief ministers of Haryana and Maharashtra enjoyed was that the paradigm change in the character of governance they brought in the respective states was fairly visible. So, from a 70,000 crore irrigation scam which the previous government was known for, the people have seen us successfully executing a plan called Jal Yukt Shivar, through which water management has been better water management visible in across rural Maharashtra. Similarly, in Haryana, a massive social change can be seen where the gender ratio for the first time, a CM purely with his conviction and with his efforts has managed to bring about a change in the flawed gender ratio of the state. Besides, of course, the exemplary execution of a whole lot of government schemes, the central government social welfare schemes. So, despite some of the glitches, that is why the people of both the states have immense faith in the BJP and in the leadership of Mr. Fadnavis and Manohar Lal Khattar. And coming to the exit poll, from my experience, I can tell you that in Maharashtra, the BJP Shiv Sena combined is going to secure at least 80% of the seats, which is roughly in the range of 230 seats, with a 55% vote share. And in Haryana, it's going to be at least 70% of the seats, which means at least 65 seats, roughly around 65 seats in Haryana.
Okay. Hassan Rizvi, do you want to respond to some of the things that Tuhin has said? Clearer leadership, this is no longer now in a situation where you're saying that Prime Minister Modi is getting them all the votes. Devendra Fadnavis seems to have been fairly successful himself. Both he and ML Khattar are facing voters, on the basis of their own work.
Tamanna, I agree with the exit poll more or less and what Mr. Tuhin has just said. But the reason which he is advocating here for the outcome of this result, if it is right that the exit poll comes true, then I disagree with the reason, because I tell you, I give you some political sociological perspective to the whole debate. Because we know that Indian subcontinent has ever seen a charismatic leadership in the past also. I mean, like if you pick up like be it the Jawaharlal Nehru or Indira Gandhi, and for that matter recently the Lalu Prasad Yadav. So the actual voter who go to the vote, I mean, most of them are least worried about, at least for 5, 10, even for the 15 year, what is the developmental outcome of any governance, any political leadership. If you all can vividly remember what happened in the Bihar, I come from Bihar, I have seen that for 15 years Lalu Prasad emerged and then undisputed leader, and when people rejected Lalu Prasad Yadav and his party boiled down at 22 seat out of 242 seat in Bihar Assembly, when voter was asked why did you reject Lalu Prasad, they asked that indeed we don't have any choice other than Lalu Prasad Yadav as a charismatic leader, but we don't accept it. So this whole agenda of governance and development and growth and unemployment and etc., it all boils down the kind of leadership and charisma whether the opposition or the ruling dispensation display in the public domain.
Hassan
We
Rizvi,
have to agree
what
that
is the
Modi
point
has
you
given
are trying to
at
make?
least
Can you just tell me what point you're trying to make? Are you trying to say that there are no other leaders that are worth voting and that's why the BJP is sailing through?
Just a quick point to rebut.
No, because there is no charisma, the kind of oratory skill, the kind of, I mean, Mr. Modi, if you look at the kind of aura he has created in the mind of the people, and particularly to the have-nots coming from a typical background of chaiwala and coming and dealing with, I mean, explain. So the point, the way Mr. Modi relate with the people, most of the neo middle class as well as the subaltern class, they connect with the Mr. Modi, because he knows, be it his aura, the way he connect, the things he picks up. So people, at least for 5-10 years, it's not about the performance of the Khattar government or
it's all about Modi.
Government.
Okay, Hassan Rizvi, I have finally managed to understand the point that you are making, and let me boil it down for my viewers. You're basically saying it's all about Prime Minister Modi, it's not really about Khattar and Fadnavis. Yes, Tuhin, you want to respond?
No, can I rebut that?
Yes.
Can I rebut that for a moment?
Yes.
See, I don't think the example of Lalu Prasad Yadav holds over here, because I have grown up in the erstwhile state of Bihar in Jamshedpur, and I can tell you that Lalu Yadav only very successfully managed to hoodwink people for a very long time. His politics was all around a very astute social engineering, where only two segments mattered to him: the Muslim Yadav vote bank, and that, coupled with his earthy humor, managed to win, managed to strike a certain winning calculation which extended for a good number of 15 years. But in our case, we have repeatedly emphasized that it's only and only deliverance which holds. Whether it's the infrastructure development in Mumbai, the massive metro rail network which is being readied at an unprecedented scale, or the Mumbai Nagpur Expressway, or the Jal Yukt Shivar program, which has led to better water management across villages, or seamless rural connectivity. It's only only performance and deliverance which matters for us.
Akhilesh Yadav government and all the metro project and highways and expressways was built up by Akhilesh Yadav.
I think we are splitting hairs. 1 minute, let me get all the analysts in. I think we're splitting hairs.
When people have to compare between two performers, they would go for the better performer.
Yeah, I think
when
people
have to compare between
we have to accept the leadership, the charisma, and the making fool of the voters was happening with the Lalu Prasad as well as were happening with Mr. Narendra Modi. And the voters here are least worried about. Still Indian politics is governed by the primordial
I'm going to ask you to
consideration.
stop, please, when I start, please. I think we're splitting hairs if we're now talking about whether this victory, if things go as per the exit polls, I put in a caveat again and again, is because voters are voting for Prime Minister Modi as the symbol, or are they voting for Fadnavis or ML Khattar? Beyond a point, I think the bigger picture is the more important one, isn't it? And Jaggi, let me come back to you. The debate is open. Anyone wants to come back, please indicate and I'll come to you. The bigger picture is the decimation completely of the opposition in a situation where they had opportunities. It's, Tuhin will not agree, but the fact is, it's not all, rainbows and magic happening in Maharashtra or Haryana right now. There are a lot of issues which this government in the last 5 years should have fixed. Jal Yukt Shivar, for example, promised to remove drought by 2019. That has clearly not happened, but it's not mattered yet. Yes, Jaggi.
Yeah, I will make 3 broad points. One is, elections are not won purely on one single issue. From everything from caste, a sense of leadership, economic delivery and all that. So economic delivery is just one of the 5 or 6 factors that matter. In this particular case, a mixture of very strong sense of leadership and the complete absence of leadership on the other side made sure that the leadership actually tilted the balance, because even despite some amount of economic lag in terms of delivery. It's not that the government has not done anything, but the fact is this government has managed to project the idea that if at all anybody can deliver, it is us. Look at these jokers on the other side, you think they can ever deliver anything. That impression is very strong among all voters, whether in Haryana or in Maharashtra. And other thing, the interesting thing about the BJP is that despite the fact that it produced completely new leaders after 2014, each one of them, we thought Khattar is not going to last. We thought Devendra Fadnavis will not survive in a Maratha dominated state. We thought Babu, that guy in Jharkhand, he managed to do well also. So my point is, the BJP seems to find the right leaders who can at some point represent the state in a much better way. It's finding a second line, so with this thing. Also, we are in the television age where I think image and perception matters. If there is a feeling that Mr. Modi can deliver and his satraps in the states can also deliver and they seem to manage things well, then, and there is no opposition challenge whatsoever. So it's as much a loss because the opposition didn't find the right candidates or the right leadership to challenge Modi on his failures, or Fadnavis or Khattar. That is how it happened. So one side there is positivity in terms of perceptions, on the other side there is absolute negative perception about what the opposition can deliver. There are so many issues on which they could have fought, they didn't manage to make a single issue stick. They went over things like Rafale and things like that when actually
you know what, Jaggi, Rafale was one mention in one speech.
Fight Mr. Modi against.
No, Rafale was one mention in one speech. The fact is the opposition has been trying to take up, slow down unemployment, etc. But there seems to be no alternative plan. There seems to be no clear alternative plan or clear deliverable. Do you think with nothing to lose, and this is follow-up for Jaggi, they could have, gone for broke and say, okay, this is my chief ministerial candidate and this is what I'm doing. The fact is so much infighting and confusion within the Congress party in Maharashtra and Haryana. So who's even going to take them seriously?
Yeah. See, the voter is cynical enough to know that all political parties more or less promise the moon and deliver something at the treetop. So they know that if there is a party that looks coherent as opposed to a parties and bunch of jokers who don't seem to know where they are going, then I'd rather trust the guy who says, look, I've got it all together. So it was a clear choice and they made the choice. That is exactly what is happening.
Okay. Tejas, you wanted to come in come in and then I'll come with my point. Yes, Tejas.
Yeah, I just want to add to what Jaggi was saying.
Tamanna, can I respond? I mean, I would.
Yeah, one sec, Hassan, I'll come to you. Turn by turn. I'll come to you, Hassan. Yes, Tejas.
Just wanted to add to what Jaggi was saying. I mean, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. Look at what stage of the entire campaign the NCP and the Congress began the campaign. It was so late. Though they announced their alliance much earlier, the campaign really began so late. Rahul Gandhi came a few times, spoke about Rafale. Not a single joint rally by the Congress and the NCP together. Now, what does the voter think? I have friends today in Mumbai who have not voted. I asked them, what happened? Why didn't you go? Of course, there is a sense that, there's politics is not changed. There's no corruption everywhere. Or that at the ground level, corruption continues. But the most important thing some of them said, where is the opposition? There is just no opposition. So, I mean, even if you want to make a choice of the opposition, there is just no option. The number of, leaders which the BJP and the Sena have taken away, that has hurt the Congress party. You only have the NCP's, stalwart really fighting it all out. Even, be it, Supriya Sule, be it Ajit Pawar, I don't think, people are reposed their faith in them, after 2014. So, and look at what has happened in Maharashtra. Devendra Fadnavis and the BJP had very clearly promised that they will take action against the NCP because of the irrigation scam. They have not taken. Still, people have reposed their faith because they feel at least there is some stability at the center here. If the BJP is here, the Shiv Sena is here, things will work out. One last point. The fissures between the Shiv Sena and the BJP, the NCP and the Congress, they could have easily exploited that. Ensure that the fissures increase and that, play the politics there so that, the alliance can break down. Even that they could not manage. Today, the Shiv Sena is seen as the biggest, opposition party within in Maharashtra rather than the NCP and the Congress. So I think to blame just to say that the leadership is the only issue because people are voting, not really. There are many issues. which go either ways, and ultimately the voter makes a decisive choice. And I think the poll of
I want to take up the point that you made, Tejas, about people in Mumbai not voting. By the way, Mumbai voter turnout 45%, pathetic 45%. There was at least a modicum of an effort which the city showed in 2014. 45% turnout this time, and it's not like everything is great in Mumbai. The infrastructure situation is really bad. Every rains you have hell. They're trying to get the metro on, but in the interim is giving people grief. People are preferring perhaps not to come out and vote. Not that it helps the final cause. Hassan Rizvi, is it simply that, the BJP has a charismatic speaker? That's the theory you've been making. Look at what the Congress has been doing. Completely imploding. This whole fight between Sanjay Nirupam and Milind Deora in Mumbai was shameful right before the election. It's like they don't even care. They're not even trying anymore.
No, this happened, I think, with every organization. What happens, Tamanna, why we are picking up actually success has many fathers, say failure dies an orphan. This is the typical thing which goes. The point what I'm trying to highlight, because it happens in every organization, and when the particular organization fails in performance, we start highlighting what went wrong. Let me highlight let me give another twist to the whole debate. My concern is that in spite of having a comradeship between Sanjay Nirupam and for that matter in the opposition camp, if the result have been the same, then what should our analysis? Then what should be our analysis? What I am highlighting, that central leadership in BJP deliberately did not provide any breathing space for the state leadership to propagate their so-called achievement, if they could achieve anything, deliberately, because if they highlight their achievement, the opposition will get a chance to counter their achievement. So what they did actually, rather than giving any space, they actually centralized the whole electioning, which they have been doing for every election in the state at the state level. So it was well calculated move, and this is happening since 2014, 2019. We have seen a presidential form of almost governance.
It's working for them. I don't understand what point you're. I'm so sorry to say this again, Hassan Rizvi, but what is the point you're making? Every party tries to put their best foot forward. No one is going to come and say that, okay, please look at all our faults. Isn't that the point of campaign?
I'm plainly accepting, Tamanna, I'm plainly accepting that opposition does not have any matching leadership like Mr.
Is it as simple as that? Okay, Tuhin wants to come in. Yes, Tuhin. Yes, Tuhin.
So, Tamanna, personally, I was very disappointed by Rahul Gandhi this time, because I was hoping for some amount of temple hopping in these elections, but it seemed that he had largely decided to restrict himself to Twitter, to some wry comments on Twitter. And in the one sabha which he did in Mumbai, none of the local leaders actually turned up. So the least which he can expect from, NCP, the partner over here, you have seen the way Sharad Pawar campaigned.
Yeah.
Now Sharad Pawar's NCP is a very unique party. In as much hard work that Sharad Pawar puts in on the ground, the other leaders indulge in as much corruption when they are in power. So people by and large knew that there was a huge character difference between the ruling party and the opposition, and that's probably also explains the low voter turnout, because our voters have turned out. It's the other side which has decided to stay at home because they're completely disillusioned, they are completely frustrated with their leadership.
How do you know that, Tuhin?
But our voters continue to vote with us with unflinching
How do you know
faith.
that? It could be the reverse also, where
find
your
out through the
voters
exit
are
poll.
Me that 70% of the rural voters.
No, how do you know that? It could be
then
the
the
other
exit
way, where
poll
your
would suggest
voters are
something else.
heartbroken, but
if
not
it's the
completely
reverse-
ready to switch sides yet. It could be
No,
that
if
as
it's
well.
the other way,
People have been
if
saying
it's
that
the
after
other way, that
PMC
would
Bank
reflect in the
Mumbai.
exit poll. Why is the exit poll suggesting such an overwhelming win for us?
Yeah, but that's not taking into consideration voter turnout, right? So today, I'm just saying your claim. Okay, Madhavan Narayan wants to come in. Madhavan, yes.
No,
I think Tamanna, let's take a deep breath, and instead of simply talking about some of the local political factors, also look at some of the big picture on the economy. I think the Congress is although it is true that the Indian economy is in a very bad slowdown, and the economy is objectively a problem in clear data terms, the fact is that politically the economy doesn't seem to be significant enough. Let me point out the fact that Haryana is home to Maruti, and Pune is called the auto capital of India. And if these two states are not worried about the automobile slowdown, and the farmers' crisis doesn't translate into a vote against the BJP, what are we looking at? Is it time to say it's not the economy stupid, instead of the old political statement, it is the economy stupid? Maybe there is a need for an introspection there. Apart from leadership issues, if you look at the fact that, in Mumbai, Milind Deora is fighting Sanjay Nirupam. In Haryana, Bhupinder Singh Hooda almost rebelled against the Congress before becoming its leader in a very clear-cut bargaining kind of a situation. Therefore, the disarray is so bad that there is no leadership message being set either in terms of issues or in terms of personality in Congress, whereas in the BJP, Fadnavis and Modi, and in Haryana particularly, compared to Fadnavis, Mr. Khattar is a pretty colorless character, and in spite of that he is cruising home, which basically means that leadership plus a certain sense of governance as opposed to a simple economic policy framework seems to be working politically better than the
if we are saying today that the economy is not a political issue, it does not play out in electoral results, then what really does? What really does? Remember, this is also the first. This is also the first major election after the abrogation of Article 370, something which has been evoked time and again during the campaign. Let me come to Tejas and Jaggi for this point. Tejas, I'll come to you first. Are you also going to look at these numbers in the context of what is happening with the response of people to the decision to abrogate Article 370?
Absolutely, I think national issues in every state elections do matter. There will be, if you look at all the speeches of all the leaders, the senior ones, especially be it Prime Minister Modi or be it Devendra Fadnavis, they have touched local issues. It's just that the media picks up national issues because they really, relate to that on a national audience. But the local media will always pick up local issues which are totally relevant and significant to the local population. But yes, that said, certainly given the fact that something as an emotive issue as abrogation of 370 has happened, it does play well. Remember, as I certainly do agree, at the end of the day, I think we are clearly seeing now that even a bad state of affairs as far as the economy is concerned is not really showing the impact as it would have, say, 10-15 years ago. But emotive issues have always played well for the BJP, be it the Ram Mandir temple, be it 370 now, be it when we saw the 2019 elections. Before that, we saw the corruption issue, we saw the issue regarding the the surgical strikes. So I think yes, there will always be these issues. But yeah, I'm still a little surprised as to how, when it's hurting the people somewhere because the economy has slowed down, still that is not turned against.
It could be communication. It could simply be communication. Jaggi, it could. Is that why the economy doesn't translate into polls? Because you're constantly communicating that we're on it, we're trying to fix it. The fact is, the finance minister has done a press conference once every few days in the last few months, and even though whether her announcements are working or not could be open to debate, the communication is there that we know there's a problem and we're doing something about it.
Yes, absolutely. See, whatever it does, good, bad, ugly, the BJP is constantly communicating with its voters and its own leadership. Whether it is Mr. Modi or Nirmala Sitharaman or Devendra Fadnavis, they are constantly saying, look, what are we doing? PM says, okay, I may not doing well on the economy, but I did Ujjwala, I did Jan Dhan, I did Ayushman Bharat. So he says each of these things touch the voter directly. He says, even if I have got only $50 out of it, it looks like something is coming to me. So the message has gone to the voter, even if the overall economy may not be doing well. But one thing I have to say about the economy, I think if you have read Ruchir Sharma's book, over 25 years he has found one thing, the economy is only one of the 6 factors that determine voting intentions. Other things being normal, economy matters. But if 5 other things like say leadership, caste equation, religious issues and candidate selections, if these things do not fall into place, then the economy matters more. But if the BJP got 5 out of the 6 things right, the fact that economy may be in trouble for the last 1 or 2 years and growth is falling and jobs are not rising as fast as they should, that is actually voter is willing to say. It's not that the economy doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just that other things, if they are okay, the economy will be put on the back burner. So okay, let's give the guy another chance.
Yeah, like what we saw in the 2019 general elections, we were having this whole economy narrative was very much on there. Now we've forgotten in hindsight because of the sweeping majority that came, but the economy was very much an issue there, and even then it got overshadowed by bigger issues and a faith that these are the guys who are possibly going to fix it. I'm going to take a very short break. We've spoken a lot about Maharashtra. Let's not ignore the very crucial state of Haryana. We're going to come back, speak a bit about Haryana, and then also talk about what's the big message for national politics from the numbers we are seeing this evening. These are, of course, exit poll numbers after Maharashtra and Haryana have got to vote. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Most exit polls, in fact, all without exception, are showing the BJP Shiv Sena returning to power in Maharashtra with a more than comfortable majority, and the BJP coming back to power in Haryana with a huge majority as well. This is the day of the poll of polls, and those are the numbers that you're seeing on your screen, a snapshot of what all of the channels are talking about. Let me now welcome Clyde Crasto of the NCP, who's also joining in on the panel. Clyde, you've missed some of the very interesting conversation we had in the first half, where we were talking about if these polls are right, then it would establish that the NCP, despite all of its efforts, would not have, of course, won the election or been anywhere close to it, but may emerge as the senior partner in the opposition alliance. What is your take on the numbers so far? Okay, I can't quite hear Clyde Crasto. Let me go back to some of the points we were making earlier. And Madhavan, I really want to come to Haryana. We've not spoken enough about Haryana and what exactly happened there. Now, let's be honest, Mr. Khattar does not have the same kind of a political shine like Devendra Fadnavis has right now. He's not been as popular a chief minister, and it hasn't been so easy in Haryana as it may have seemed in Maharashtra. But a couple of factors. One is, a complete split in the opposition, and Dushyant Chautala and the JGP. How big a factor do you think this fragmented opposition is in possibly giving the BJP an easy, cross over the finish line?
I think Haryana is, for a variety of reasons, a sort of a comfortable ground for BJP for all the wrong reasons, in the sense that if you go back 20 years, Haryana's politics was oligarchic. You had the Ahirs and the Jats as dominant landowning castes, which were not comfortable with the economic equations under the Congress. But what has happened is that these two communities and the certain urbanization of Haryana has resulted in a certain right-wing tilt to the entire polity there, in which national security and the kind of issues that Amit Shah and Narendra Modi raise seem to really ring a bell or strike a chord. And that has gone in BJP's favor. And on the other hand, you know that Mr. Om Prakash Chautala, who was a senior leader in the country, was convicted, and his family has been split, and now you have the JJP formed by Dushyant Chautala, and then you have Congress fragmented. Bhupinder Singh Huda's behavior prior to the in the election campaign amounted to virtual rebellion by a senior leader.
Yeah.
And you know, although he is in the Congress still, the way he conducted himself was clear
Now, who,
that the
Madhavan, do you
old-fashioned
think is going to
charisma
emerge
of the
as the
Nehru
primary
Gandhi family was
opposition
over,
in Haryana?
and it's every man for himself.
Yeah, who do you think is going to emerge as the primary opposition in Haryana?
Sorry?
I mean, the Congress may still have most of the numbers, but you know, the primary emerging opposition in Haryana.
I think it will still be Congress, because I don't see any other party significant enough. The INLD is there,
Yeah.
but it's a good guess. You know, anything I say would be just a random guess.
Yeah.
But by and large, I still think that Congress remains the main, because INLD also doesn't have much of a leadership right now.
Right.
You know,
I
this
believe
is
I
not
have
Devi
Clyde
Lal's
back.
regime.
Clyde, can you hear me now?
So I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Clyde, I was asking you for your, you know, reaction on the numbers and what they tell you. There were some estimates which gave the NCP and Congress together an even worse kind of a number, closer to 40, 45. Some are showing you in a better situation. Do you think all of that hard work by Sharad Pawar may have paid off for the NCP?
I'll tell you something. I have not been able to see your exit polls clearly, but I've been doing a couple of debates, and across all debates, you know, see, I mean, let's talk it this way: that if you go by what the exit poll says, and if you go by what the narrative that was said before the election, we've all fought a hard election. There's no point in fighting right now and throwing things at each other. But if we go by that, what the BJP and its allies kept saying was there's absolutely no opposition. Now I have some figures that I have in front of me which shows that what numbers that we had the last time around, we're still going to get those numbers, maybe a few seats more than that. Well, it's not going to give us bring back us into the government, not for sure. But the point here is that the narrative that was said, that we are going to be decimated, we are not going to be around, and they're going to be crossing 225 plus, it doesn't seem to work. So more than us, I think somewhere the BJP and its allies need to work on where the narrative that they said and they're invincible, they've not been able to reach out to people and get the numbers that they thought they would get. So if we are going to stick to what numbers we've already got, that despite what is happening and despite what has been told about us, if we're still sticking to that numbers, then I think, you know, there's some sort of improvement and we can just get better from here.
Well, that is optimistic, no doubt. That you know, the opposition is, you can only go up after this point, to be honest. Jaggi is smiling. Jaggi, you know, wrote for opposition. Let's talk a bit about that, because in the big picture, that's also an important perspective.
Yeah, see, I think one thing is clear. I think among the two parties, Congress and NCP, it's clear that the NCP should be the senior partner. It seems to have a base, and it seems to be likely around which a new base can grow against the BJP Shiv Sena. So I think that I would say is the positive. It is, I think the Congress does not stand anywhere because most of its senior leaders, but NCP has probably held its own. I think NCP can build on that, provided it becomes a true opposition and a next generation after Pawar and all takes over. So I think that would be the positive thing. But of course, to try and spin this out as some kind of great victory for NCP is not right. But I do think that it is now the NCP is clearly going to be the senior partner.
Okay, Tejas, how are you looking at, you know...
Can I just put in a word here?
Yeah, Clyde, very quickly.
No, I don't know who was talking, but with all due respect to the
Jaggi,
gentleman, you know, I'm not
yes.
claiming any sort of victory. What I'm trying to tell you, yeah, Jagannathan ji, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm not claiming any victory, but what I'm trying to say is that despite all the odds against us, despite all the narratives set against us, if we can hold on to what we had earlier, I think it's a positive sign. It's something that has to be looked into, and it can only get better from it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, yeah, so from the bottom you can only, you know, improve. In that sense, okay. Yes, I get your point. But Tejas, are they showing any kind of trajectory of improvement? At the end of the day, you know, despite the fact that performance and governance is not as big a factor as it should be, and you're in the middle of this very Tina kind of situation of there is no alternative, that's not necessarily great for a democratic setup. You need the opposition to wake up.
Well, first of all, as far as the NCP is concerned, I think both the Shiv Sena and the BJP will be most interested to figure out if the elections have, given them something as far as, the sugar belt of Maharashtra is concerned, Western Maharashtra, because that's essentially where the NCP's stronghold really still remains. And even in the 2019 elections, though there was a point of time, I remember when when the figures were coming in, it was showing that the BJP was in lead, and even Supriya Sule was behind at one point of time. But ultimately, they did recover in the later stages of the count. When the counting really took place. So I think the key issue for the BJP and the Shiv Sena will be: have they made more inroads? Have they been able to grab a couple of seats at least from the NCP? That will be a major thing for both these parties. As far as your larger question is concerned, yes, absolutely. I mean, if these two major political parties in the state of Maharashtra, for example, or let's take, for example, even in Haryana, if there is, there are no leaders coming up from the ground up, if there are no, I mean, grassroots leaders, if there are no, there's no proper ideology around which the party is, especially the Congress party is, revolving around. The central leadership remains a problem.
Yes.
The narrative which they keep having is, repeated election after election, and it has not worked.
No, you're in a situation, frankly, where you can't even say why is Rahul Gandhi doing this and that, because he's quit. He's quit the top job. So effectively, he's walked away from any responsibility on that front. I've got Amitabh Tiwari back. Amitabh, we're pretty much closing the show. Just to wrap up and talk about what your key takeaways are from the numbers that we've seen.
See, the key takeaways are that NDA has consolidated its position both in Haryana and Maharashtra. In fact, it could even do better than the Lok Sabha elections. And why it is happening, why are the central points of elections resonating with the audience here, especially in Maharashtra, is that there is a high level of urbanization. Urban voters generally do not vote on Bijli Sadak Pani issues, but they tend to vote on aspirational issues like nationalism, etc. Then there is a high level of migration here in Maharashtra, especially Mumbai, Thane.
Yeah.
And these voters also do not necessarily vote on local issues but central issues. And as regards the point of who is going to be the main opposition in Maharashtra, I think it is going to be Shiv Sena now. Because with the increasing irrelevance of NCP and Congress,
Yeah.
the problems within the BJP and the Sena alliance are likely to increase, and Sena will continue to perform like they did in the last elections and remain a bigger opposition within the NDA.
But
In Haryana,
frankly, that's
it seems is like even the Jats
Yeah.
have voted for the BJP.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see, and just
Even the Jats have voted for the BJP, so there it has a very invincible combination.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, the usual disclaimers. These are polls from various agencies that we've collated for you. Last word from you, Tuhin. If these are in the right direction, how does the BJP ensure it continues to serve the people without becoming arrogant and taking votes for granted?
Well, the way we work, we are a 24/7 party, so we can never become arrogant. In fact, if we had to become arrogant, we wouldn't have, immediately gone in for a working president. We took 3 or 4 weeks to get a working president in place because our president is now also the home minister. The Congress, after its worst performance, is still struggling with its leadership. So I don't think we can ever get arrogant because we believe in Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, we believe in Antodaya, and we have executed it. And that is precisely the reason why, despite some of the glitches which you've mentioned, the people overwhelmingly have trust in us, have faith in us.
All
so
right.
if you ask me, I think we are headed towards a historic win, but that historic win is only going to make us work harder from here.
Okay, we'll of course have to wait and see. These are exit polls. The people of Maharashtra and Haryana have made their choice clear. We'll know what they have to say and whether we can hear that message loud and clear only on the 24th. I want to thank all of you for joining us on the show this evening, and with a reminder that on the 24th, do stay tuned to us right here at ET Now as we take you through all the coverage on Result Day.